Hi, I'm Howard Kaufman, and this is my story. I grew up in the heart of New York City. Went to school in New York City. I didn't even know that people had lawns or houses until I was probably 10 or 11 years old. So I thought everybody lived in a walk-up building and played stickball in the street. I have a sister. My parents came to this country during World War II. My dad was a Holocaust survivor. My mom escaped through Holland and was able to get access to the United States. They came to this country with virtually nothing. I think they were given $5 when they arrived at Ellis Island. They started essentially from scratch, no family. Unfortunately, the rest of the family perished during World War II, the Holocaust. But growing up, seeing how hard my parents worked and how they struggled and how, on payday on Friday afternoon, they would take their check and go to the supermarket to get it cashed and buy groceries, gave me a real appreciation of working hard and the need to work hard to make ends meet. How I started Princeton Brush is really a long story, and I'm going to try to just abbreviate it for you. In 1968, the Vietnam War was on at the time, and there was a draft, and I was a patriotic young man. I was in the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts, and I always proudly carried the flag. So the next thing I knew, I graduated college, found myself going through a 12-week basic course, came out as a second lieutenant, and then spent 53 weeks in flight school and became a pilot. And so now I come out of the military and it's 1972, and I go, what the heck am I going to do? There was one small company called ChartPack, and they were in the graphic arts industry, and they were looking for a New York City sales rep to sell their art supplies to local art stores. And I went up and handed my resume to the gentleman from ChartPack, and lo and behold, I got the job. It was a good start to my career. While I was working in the daytime, I was going to grad school at night, and I got my master's degree in marketing. And so after 3 years of selling retailers in New York City, I became a product manager. I guess through good fortune, I was able to move up from product manager to marketing manager, eventually sales and marketing manager to vice president of sales and marketing. There's a lot of business cards. So now all of a sudden I was in charge of both sales and marketing for ChartPack/Grumbacher, and I was getting further exposure into the fine art channel of manufacturing and distribution. And shortly thereafter became general manager of Grumbacher. And so that's how I got into the fine arts segment of the market. Am I an artist? No, I'm not an artist. I basically know which end of the brush to use, and that's about as much as I knew in the beginning. What I've acquired is speaking to artists and educators over the years and learning a lot more about brushes. But eventually I got tired of corporate America and started my own business. So that's how Princeton Art and Brush got started. I was very fortunate to be able to start the business initially in the basement of my home. I did it by myself. I began with a very small product line, importing it mostly from Japan, a little bit from Korea. I remember a conversation I had with the president of McPherson's, still a very important customer to Dixon USA today. And the president called me up and he said, "So Howard, what are you going to do now that you're no longer in the corporate world?" I said, "I'm going to start my own brush company." And he said, "Oh, Howard, nobody needs another brush company. Well, I wish you luck. Goodbye." And he hung up. And within 2 years, we became not only his number one brush company, but the 10th or 11th largest vendor to McPherson's out of about 250 vendors that they had. Princeton is a very recognized town in New Jersey because of Princeton University, which is in the top 1 or 2 universities in the United States. So I always jokingly would say to people, "Oh yeah, Princeton Brush," because yeah, the university named themselves after me. I'm kidding, of course. This has been an amazing experience. And we built the business over a 2-year period to really become a market leader. And over the next 10, 15 years, we became number one through having innovative products, great service, just really focusing on the customer and never saying no to them. In 2012, I was given the NAMTA Lifetime Achievement Award. And usually when they tell you you're getting the award, you run to the doctor because that means you're probably on your last leg. That was a great honor, a great recognition by my peers, and I'm very humbled by it. I think the biggest challenge about running a company from your basement is how do you appease your wife and family? So here I am in the basement of the house, out of the way. And I actually borrowed a Tupperware bowl from my wife to scoop styrofoam peanuts into boxes. I still have that freaking Tupperware bowl. I still have it. And it has to be a few 100 million, if not a billion peanuts over 30 years that I scooped out, styrofoam peanuts into boxes. But as the business grew in the basement, we took over the garage. It's a funny story to me, but it's not funny to my wife. But she's at school and I get a delivery and there's no room in the garage and there's no room in the basement. So I did the next logical thing. I rolled up the rug in the living room and dining room, pushed all the furniture into a corner, and I filled the living room and dining room with boxes. Logical, but holy smokes, you could hear the fireworks when she came home from school. And I said it was temporary, but temporary turned out to be like over a decade. I got away with it for years, and Thanksgiving is around the corner. Well, now all of a sudden it's our turn. And my wife says to me, what are you going to do about those blank boxes that are in the living room and dining room? I said, yes, dear. And a few days before Thanksgiving, she said, remember we had this conversation? And I said, yep. What are you going to do about these boxes? So I crammed everybody into a small table in the dining room, put a sign up on the boxes hanging from almost the ceiling down. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. These boxes paid for your Thanksgiving dinner. Princeton Art and Brush. We actually expanded the house, built another garage with concrete slabs over a new basement. We had the inspector come to approve the construction. I had to hire vans to take as much inventory out of the basement as possible, put stuff in vans, and go sit in a shopping mall parking lot so the inspector would not see what we were really using the basement for. Got away with it, thankfully. As soon as the inspector signed off, all the vans came back and we put all the brushes in. But we managed to fill that new garage and new basement also because the business kept growing. My wife was ready to divorce me, and you think I'm kidding, I'm not. And so I called a friend of mine and he got me a warehouse, which is where we were until about 2-3 weeks ago. I was told never again, and God bless her, she was right. She was an angel in this thing. I couldn't have done it without her. And Ashley was my best employee, by the way, because I didn't have to pay her. She thought it was just great doing all this work. I don't want to get emotional, but she's the best. She has her mom's intelligence and my motivation. And that's just an awesome combination. And again, without trying to get teary-eyed, I'm so proud of Ashley. I couldn't have done it without Ashley. My hobbies are work. And then in my spare time, I work. I haven't taken a vacation in 17 or 18 years. I've never missed a day of work, never. I know it's not normal, but when it's your own business, you work it. I can't paint. Let's remember that, guys. I've got no hobbies, okay? I'm not interested in learning shuffleboard at the old age home. It's not work in many ways. It's climbing another mountain. It's winning a battle. It's capturing market share. I will now in my new role be able to take time off. And I said last weekend to somebody, I watched this thing called football on TV. It was amazing. These guys throw each other on the grass. I think what made the transition easy was, a big company, but a very warm, personable organization. And so it was an assimilation, and we had a lot of the same thoughts and way of doing business. So it wasn't very difficult. It actually worked out very well. And now we're all one happy family. So I think it was last July, I was asked to take on the role of Vice President of Fine Art. This is probably, this is going to be my last hurrah. This is, at this point, after 50 years almost in the industry, there's one more mountain to climb. This will be the highest and the hardest mountain to climb. I'm excited to work with so many great people in the marketing and sales organization at Dixon. There's some all-stars that comprise the marketing and sales organization. Really talented people who are creative. I look forward to working with everybody to coming out with new exciting products and fighting the competition. I think the greatest gratification I can get is when somebody says, "Oh, Howard's still around." That's a good thing for me to hear. Thanks for listening to my story.